What's up, everybody? This is Chris with the Silent Flute, and we're continuing chakras and auras. And so I'm assuming that you all are able to see auras. I'm not getting any feedback on whether you are or are not. And just to reiterate, with your vision, imagine eyeballs at the temples looking outward. Choose a point on the horizon. Soften your tongue. I'll go deeper into that in the next few days. I'm doing it right now. I can see my own aura in the fucking video. And you gotta be sensitive to the energy within you. You have to be able to sense your own energy. Literally, while someone is lecturing around me, like David does lectures, or I'll go to like a lecture of Arash or Vince or anything, I'm practicing opening up my aura. I'm opening up every chakra, just feeling it. Feels like an open doorway to allow reception. And so you got to do yoga practice. You got to do your asana practice. Even though I have the most beginner, basic 20-minute sequence on YouTube that if you have normal functioning to be able to get up and walk around, you can do that sequence. You got to do it and practice this gaze while you do your practice. There's actually, so I didn't mean to go into this, but there's a concept in yoga, in Hatha yoga, called Dristi. Dristi is like a looking place. And so while you're cultivating eyeballs on the side of your temple, a looking place at the horizon, so that you're able to access your parasympathetic, that engages your periphery, brings your periphery into your focus. Then you're practicing Dristi, so you hold that periphery while you practice Dristi. Dristi is you look at a certain place while you're bending and breathing, and you're doing your yoga. It's one of the things that separates a contortionist or a gymnast from a yogi. There's many things, but one of those is Dristi. And Dristi is that you're projecting your senses in a direction. That's literally what it is. It's not just you look at a thing, it's that you be the thing, you become the thing, you taste the thing, you hear it, you embody it. This comes back to, I did a video earlier in the week on the union of Hatha Yoga and sorcery. The origins of Hatha Yoga is sorcery. It was black magic. Black magic was invented before Hatha Yoga. And a lot of those early writings deal with possession, how people were possessing other people with their spirit, or possessing other animals or trees or whatever. That's not what we're doing, and I'm not advising that. I don't know how to do it, and I don't really have a desire to do it. Excuse me, I got some almonds in my nuts. I got some almonds in my throat. But that ability to project your senses towards an object, and you're cultivating it. You're not going to get it so much the first time, but it will deepen your sense of becoming the object that you're looking at. And when you unite that object with your consciousness, that is a form of yoga, that union. And no longer are you doing the looking, you are the looking. I know it sounds really esoteric, but so you cultivate this sense of you're looking elsewhere. You can do it while you meditate too. I'll teach you probably a couple of gazing meditations in the coming weeks. Right now we're still just warming up. The Silent Flute's about to really officially get started. This is warming you up. So you cultivate periphery vision, then you focus your Dristi. In my yoga sequences, I tell you where to look. Or if you know how to do yoga, a lot of you are Hatha yogis. You project your senses there without straining. So it's not a focus on your eyes. It's a periphery like I just taught you. And then with your mind towards wherever you're looking, maybe to the left, to the right, up, to your hand, to your foot, to your navel, to your nose tip. I think those are all the looking places. And there are many more that I'll teach you in the coming weeks. Those are the official orthodox looking places, but you can look at your first rib, you can look at your floating ribs, you can look at your talus, so many things. But I wanted to talk to you about the throat chakra. So 5 minutes, we're finally at the throat chakra. This is Vishuddha, which means purification. So this is from where creation comes. Some people think creation comes from your second chakra, but that's like unconscious creation. That's like You know, when a baby's in the womb, you're not consciously like, all right, grow a thumbnail, grow an arm. Okay, now I'm going to start developing its root chakra. No, it just does it naturally. Biology does that. Your conscious creation comes from your throat. This is where you're creating situations, you're creating communication, you're creating frames, which is like a frame is like a filter for perception. It's like a window. You're framing it so that the light that's hitting over here doesn't get in, only the light that goes in the frame. So you can broaden your frame, narrow your frame, change the shape of your frame. It's your frame on life. Like there's a frame I have right now that I've cultivated in the last few days with the assistance of Arashdi Bazaar, of not allowing any negativity in my life. None. No negativity. That's not to say that destructive things don't happen around me, but negativity has to pass through my filter of perception. Two people can experience the same event and one person thinks it's negative, one person thinks it's positive. It's the same event. It's all in the filter. So that's a frame. A frame is that it's all meant to be, I'm utilizing everything for growth. That's a frame. That comes from the throat chakra. And so the throat is kind of it's a 16 petal bright blue star. Some people think it's a pale blue, some people think it's a deep blue. You know, allow your imagination to figure it out for yourself. This will also help you in your own analysis of auras. You see someone with a strong blue aura and you know they have a lot of potential to create. Doesn't necessarily mean they are creating, it means they have a lot of potential for it. And judging by how they talk and how they listen, then you can start to ascertain if there's like excess or deficiency, or which in general I don't go around telling people like you have excess, you have deficiency or whatever, but it's a way of understanding maybe how better to interact with them. If someone has, you know, an excessive heart chakra, I might accept their love a little bit more, but with boundaries. I have to place boundaries on someone that's too excessive. If somebody is deficient in their heart chakra, I would absolutely reward every time that they actually communicate affection or feeling. That person needs that reinforcement to bring them back to a place of balance. And so we're not going to go into excess and deficiencies for the upper three chakras right now because for the most part, all of you have very powerful throat, forehead, and crown chakras. Most of Western society does. Most of Western society is suffering more in the grounding chakras, 1, 2, and 3, maybe somewhat in their fourth, and that compensation sends it all up into the head. So most auras that you see are actually going to be a blue-purple. And then the second most common one you'll see is like an orange, because there's a lot of like sexual energy flying around, especially like deprivation. There's a lot of deficiency in non-sexual intimate touch, which is a kind of emotional communication in the West. And so you'll see a lot of orange auras. But probably from the most popular are like a blue-purple, and I'm colorblind, but it's funny, my third eye can see blue and purple a lot better than I realize. And so you see a lot of blue-purple, you'll see a lot of orange, and then you also see some reds mixed in there. And occasionally I see other things. So the mudra of the third chakra, or the throat chakra, the Sutta, is interlacing the fingers. Sometimes I play with left hand on top. Left hand on top is a feminine gesture. So left side of the body is feminine. So that would be a feminine dominant, which is almost an oxymoron. Masculine dominant. So if you want to focus more on communicating your truth, right finger's on top, extend the pointer finger and touch together. A little bit of space between the hands, point towards your throat. Don't touch your chest. Touching, unless you want to combine that with heart chakra mudra. It brings awareness to your heart chakra. So there's various combinations you can do when you're working with chakras. I almost never touch the chest. I just point towards the throat. If I want to focus more on listening, the feminine aspect of communication, left hand on top, point towards the throat. Relax the shoulders, but the elbows tend to come out a little bit, so don't worry about that. And, you know, contemplating the 16-petaled blue star, the center of the throat, breathing over it, softening the tongue. It's where the tongue passes over. Technically, the tongue ends somewhere around here, but esoterically, the root of the tongue is the heart. That's because we have to give ourselves appreciation. We have to absolutely love ourselves in order to communicate our truth. We can't communicate truth if we don't love ourselves. And I've done videos on this before. I'll go ahead and throw it out there now that I am not of the I don't follow the belief of unconditional love towards others. I think it's removes the responsibility on the individual to discern who is deserving of respect, and people that follow that, both in my experience and theoretically, tend to be somewhat imbalanced and a little bit their ability to create healthy boundaries and their ability to distinguish toxic from healthy situations is a little bit, it's skewed, it's distorted because of this belief, meaning it's like a dogma. Belief is like a dogma. Belief is unprovable. If you can prove it, then it's like a law. You know, that's why there's laws of the universe. All things are vibration. You know, that's not a belief. Everything fucking vibrates. You can prove it. So the belief in unconditional love tends to take the onus off of the person. It absolves them of responsibility, and so on. However, I do believe in unconditional love towards ourself, because that creates dissidence if there's aspects of myself that I don't love. We're harmonizing the throat and the heart chakra. Everything in my life, kind of like what I was just talking about, that all things can be filtered in a positive way. That is unconditional love for my experience in life. Everything I encounter, everything I experience, everything that's done to me and I do to the world, even if I'm doing nothing, I'm sitting and meditating, I love it. The frustrations, the pains, the sorrows, the miseries, the happiness and achievements and relationships, like every aspect, every birth, death, old age, illness, I love it. I appreciate it. It might be painful, but that doesn't mean I can't love it. That's where unconditional love is to be found, is the love of our own experience of life. And if everybody did that, then what you would see is an outward experience of unconditional love. But it's as within, so without. You have to give it to yourself first. And then what happens external is just it's a development of it. It's a result of it. Okay, so point towards the throat. I speak and hear truth. My voice is important. My expression comes naturally, fluidly. Spiritual purification comes easily to me as I honestly express my thoughts, feelings, and emotions and experiences. As you hold the mudra, remember to have fun with it. Play with the sensation of an exuding of the energy and a reception of the energy. Receiving will allow you to be able to listen better. Exuding will allow you to be able to speak quicker, more witty, more truthfully and honestly with the core of your being. And when we finish all 7 chakras, then I'm going to show you how to integrate them all even more completely together. So you operate as a unified whole moving forward. And so definitely, if you're not on the Facebook group, definitely do join The Silent Flute on Facebook. Like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And comment if you're able to start seeing auras yet, if you're having any experiences with these mudras. I see people are watching these videos, but I don't get much feedback. Some people send me private messages, and so, you know, I can only help you as much as you give me some feedback. You got to communicate with me for me to be able to share more knowledge with you. All right. Peace. Namaste. Ninth Limb.